Hey, everybody, Monday night in the Bay Area. Welcome to the Glen Kuiper Show. We had a great show last night. My nephew Cole joined me tonight, just by myself, and we're going to cover some Giants baseball. We'll cover the first three games of the exhibition season, and we're going to end the show talking about the Giants bullpen. Of course, that's a concern for lots of Giants fans. We'll kick around some different ideas with that. So should be a fun show tonight as we concentrate on your San Francisco Giants and how they're doing down in spring training. Let's get to the sponsors. The Glen Kuiper Show is brought to you by the Kehrig Real Estate Team. It's a family-owned and real estate team serving clients in Danville, Alamo, San Ramon, and across the Bay Area for nearly 50 years. Now, if you're thinking about buying or selling a home, connect with Mike Kehrig at Mike@KehrigTeam.com. That's Kehrig. For trusted local guidance from a team that truly knows the Bay Area, visit KehrigTeam.com or call 925-548-4132. We're also brought to you in part by Tilden Properties. By investing in California's multifamily real estate with Tilden Properties, you'll see quarterly dividends and equity buildup in the real estate market. Tilden Properties is Bay Area-based and family-owned and has been building investment wealth for their clients dating all the way back to 2008. Give them a call if you're interested in becoming an investor with Tilden Properties, 925-209-8558. The Glen Kuiper Show also brought to you in part by Partners Capital LLC. It's a wealth management firm that's providing financial strategies for elite performance and lasting peace of mind with experience guiding professional athletes and the families next door. Partners Capital delivers thoughtful planning, steady guidance, and a clear path forward. Partners Capital, it's your partner for a stronger financial future. Call them if you're interested in talking about your financial future at 1-888-702-7743. And we're also brought to you by Area Rug Cleaning Direct. It's a subsidiary of Gamble's Flooring. Now, if your area rug needs professional cleaning or repair, Area Rug Cleaning Direct will pick up and return your area rug within 5 business days looking brand spanking new. Family owned and proudly serving the Bay Area for over 35 years. Call Area Rug Cleaning Direct at 925-933-9999 for all your area rug needs. So before we start on the San Francisco Giants, I wanted to throw this out there for everybody. And what it is it's a big thank you from me. We are closing in on 21,000 subscribers in 10 months. Never thought we'd have a number anything close to that, but I just need to send out a huge thank you to the great viewers who tune in pretty much every show. They join the show with their comments and their questions. I like to bring them in. They all know how we operate here, but that is the group that is moving the numbers for our show. And I'm very proud of what we've done so far. And I feel like I got a whole new group of friends, and they are the subscribers and the viewers. And they've been terrific. And again, we're closing in on 21,000 subscribers in 10 months. Thank you to my producer, Ryan, who works very hard, throwing lots of videos and shorts out on the YouTube channel. It's always there. All the shows are there. And so feel free to go back and check them out at any time. And a big thank you also to our sponsors. You hear me talk about them before the show and toward the end of the show: Tilden Properties, Kehrig Real Estate, Partners Capital, and Area Rug Cleaning Direct. They have been with me for the most part from the start, and I very, very much appreciate that. And we're working on bringing in some new sponsors as well. So exciting times for the Glen Kuiper Show in our first year doing the show. And we're not even to baseball season yet. Spring training's going on, but the real stuff, of course, starts at the end of March. So we're not even to the real baseball season just yet. I'm heading down to spring training on Friday. I'm going to be there for 15 days. Absolutely cannot wait to get down there. So we're going to ramp it up down there. And then before you know it, the season's going to start. We'll be able to have some pregame shows, some postgame shows, and a ton to talk about from what I think is going to be a very, very fun year. So anyways, I wanted to throw that out there and thank all the viewers. So let's get started with 3 spring training games. Well, that's kind of exciting, right? Finally, we got something to talk about, and certainly a good start for the San Francisco Giants. They played 3, won them all. And how great was it Saturday, Sunday? Listen to the radio. You can hear John and Dwayne. I know that's always sort of a soothing way to start spring training when those two Hall of Famers, or should be Hall of Famers, come on, and they're super fun to listen to. But so we got plenty of those two. And so 3 games played. The Giants will play a total of 33 exhibition games this year. Seems like a lot, right? And the regular season starts in less than a month, but it's 33 total exhibition games. And that does include 3 split squad days where there's Giants play 2 games. They send one team off to a visiting to be the visitors somewhere, and they have a home game. So it's really 2 games in one day for the Giants. And they also have, which is becoming somewhat of an annual thing, I think, they play the Sacramento River Cats in an exhibition game up in Sacramento right before the season starts. And then they have a couple of exhibition games at Oracle Park against a team from Mexico, which is going to be a big deal. So that's exciting. But plenty of exhibition baseball still to be played. There's 30 exhibition games left, and a whole ton of stuff can happen. We certainly know that. But it has been a fun start. So I wanted to kind of go over the games that we saw, get your thoughts on what you've seen so far. And granted, that really doesn't mean a lot. It really doesn't. It's the first 3 games of an exhibition season. But it's baseball, and it gives us something fun to talk about. We're not worried about wins and losses. Yeah, you always like to see your team win, but that's not really what's driving us here. But there are things going on, and everybody has people that they want to watch, right? Maybe minor leaguers, maybe new guys. But that's what makes spring training great. But on Saturday, the Giants come back, win a game 10-5. Kind of a typical spring training game where there's always a ball lost in the sun. That happens it's on average probably once a game, and sometimes twice. It helped the Giants once. Grant McCrae lost the ball in center field, but the sun is very, very difficult in Arizona. They say it's a high sky. There's just nothing up there when you look. It's just sky. In the Midwest, you look up and there's clouds and partial clouds, but in Arizona, nothing. And it's a little bit like that here in California on real sunny days too. There's just not a lot of cloud cover. So it's just like, whoa. And it's tough. It's tough in every ballpark in Arizona. It doesn't matter whether it's Scottsdale Stadium or Talking Stick or Mesa. It's just a thing in spring training. Balls in the air, hold your breath because they're an adventure, and it helped the Giants in this game. We saw the Hayden Birdsong. Obviously, that was disappointing. The stuff looked good, but again, a couple of walks. Fastball was okay. Breaking stuff could not throw for strikes. Off-speed stuff could not throw for strikes. So everybody's keeping a close eye on Hayden Birdsong. And it was just the first start. So we're not going to get too worked up about that. But he gave up the grand slam, and that was sort of the end for him. We saw Blade Tidwell, which I was excited about. I have not seen him. That's the first time I've seen him pitch. Again, and I think the fans feel the same way. You read about these guys, and you may see some highlights here and there, but it's fun to see him in a Giants uniform really pitching for your team for the first time. And Tidwell was fun to watch. He's got a real good slider, hard slider, almost like a sweeper. And he ended up with, I think he walked the guy, but he ended up with 3 strikeouts. So that was fun. I was looking forward to seeing Blade Tidwell. Michael Fulmer, the veteran who's the non-roster invitee, he pitched well. Bryce Eldridge, that was impressive. He got a RBI double against Andres Munoz. Andres Munoz is nasty. And I know it's his first, spring training outing, and he's probably trying some stuff. But Munoz is one of the best closers in baseball. Throws extremely hard. He's got a wipeout slider. So it was good to see Eldridge on a high-velocity fastball go the other way, hit it over the left fielder's head. So we're all going to keep a close eye on Bryce Eldridge all spring. I mean, we just are. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if he's going to make the opening day roster. But we do, at least I sit up when his at-bats come, because I want to see what he's going to do. So that was fun to see. The Giants win the game. And I thought it was interesting. Tony Vitello, the manager, was asked after his first professional managerial outing. he said, and I wrote this down, he said, quote, somebody asked him, what did you kind of learn? Like, it's your first game, right? As a big league manager. He said, pre-game preparation, like what's the best thing for me to do to get ready for the game as the game gets closer and closer. And he said, game conversations with his coaches. I thought that was very interesting because that is something that he's going to rely on this year. I don't think there's any doubt. But he said those were the two things that he felt like he kind of learned something or needs to, what do I do before the game to get ready? What are the important things to look at? And my conversations with my coaches in the dugout during the game. Very honest, very legit stuff that he is learning. And now we can say, well, yeah, he was the manager, he was the head coach in college. But the point is now, in college you have 3 coaches. Now you have at the big leagues, he's got 12. And some he needs to talk with. He's got a bench coach. He's got Ron Washington. Everybody's involved and everybody's pulling the rope the same way. And everybody's there to help Tony to feel more comfortable. But there's a lot going on. And that's why I keep preaching. It's just, listen, you got to be patient. He has a lot going on. But I thought it was interesting. That's what he said about, what he felt like he kind of learned during that this first game in the dugout as the manager of the Giants. But Sunday, the Giants win again. They win 4-2. That was the first home game at Scottsdale Stadium, which is always pretty cool. Big crowd, beautiful sunshine. The game was on TV, so I'm sitting there watching it and just really, really kind of wanting to be there. But I'll be there on a Friday. But that was interesting. The Giants won 4-2. They scored 3 runs by putting the ball in play. Who noticed that? Adames did it. Devers did it. And I believe Casey Schmidt did it later on in the game with the guy in third. Put the ball in play. And they did. And the Giants could have scored more runs in that game. But the fact is they, that's what we need. Less strikeouts in key spots in the game. So that was good to see. And again, it's very small sample size, and you hope it continues on right into the regular season. But it's just something I noticed from that game. But it was also a weird game. A base hit got turned into a triple play. I mean, it was great. There was a lot going on. Jung-Hoo Lee made a great throw from right field. He really does have a very strong arm. And that's why I think he's going to settle in. I think he's going to settle in very nicely in right field. I really, really do. And it was fun to see him kind of show it off, threw a guy out at home plate. I think that one of the things that jumped out, and you see this in spring training games a lot because you have a lot of young pitchers, but that first game, the Giants pitchers walked 7, and in the Sunday game, they walked 10. Now, it drives you crazy, right? But it's just the way it is. Young pitchers come in and listen, maybe a little nervous. Could be a guy in his first big league camp. They're going to walk guys. It's just sort of the way it is. Frustrating, yes. And that's why when you see a young kid come in and throw strikes and get people out, that makes you sit up and take notice. And then today they came back, beat the A's 6-2 again at Scottsdale Stadium. Single runs in innings 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So they scored a single run in each one of those innings and racked up a 6-2 win. Good game for Luis Arraez. That was fun to see. Arraez had a RBI double, RBI single. And we've talked about in his career, he's been an excellent hitter with runners in scoring position, nearly a 350 batting average in his career. That number was down some last year, but still pretty good compared to league averages. And that's one of the reasons it has, thoughts being thrown out there of where to hit him. But anyways, he was in the leadoff spot today, but he did get a couple big RBI hits, which was fun to see. Brubaker started just 1 inning, gave up a couple of runs, a couple of walks again. We'll talk about Brubaker and this bullpen situation in the last segment of our show. Trevor McDonald, we saw him for the first time today, and that was fun. I've been looking forward to seeing him. Saw him a little bit last year. I think he's got a chance to make this bullpen somewhere. But he had a couple strikeouts in one inning, no runs today. Again, lots of walks, 7 walks by Giants pitchers today. But again, if you look at the box score, from today's game and look at the names of the pitchers, you'll recognize probably 3 of them because it's just a whole bunch of youngsters pitching today. But they held an A's offense, and I don't know what the A's lineup looked like. I mean, A's have a terrific lineup. I don't know that it was much close to their A lineup at all, in fact. But still, good confidence builder for these young guys. And it's funny when I say the young guys, spring training groups are, and I don't want to, when I say groups, I don't mean, well, that group is together over here and this group's together. No, I'm just saying what their 40-man roster, right? So you have the 40-man roster guys, you have the non-roster invitees. We know who they are. And then what you have in a lot of the games is you'll have a group of players come over from the minor league complex. Okay. The minor league complex, I believe, has like a mini camp for their best prospects going on right now. I don't think the official spring training for minor leagues has started yet, but there's a whole bunch of players over there. I believe having some type of mini camp. But anyway, so what happens is you want a bunch of extra guys. So there could be 5, 6, 7, 8 guys that are called over from Papago, the minor league complex, come over and get ready to play potentially in the big league game. So it's kind of fun. And we saw a lot of those pitchers today. You may not know who they are, and they'll go back to the minor league complex right after the game, but it's a big thrill for them. So again, you have your regular 40-man roster guys. You all know who they are, your non-roster invitees. And then each game you have this group of minor leaguers that, they'll get in a game. They may pinch run. So it's a big thrill for them as well. And we saw a lot of those today, but that's sort of how it breaks down the different players and where they're coming from. But you think about that. Think about being a minor leaguer, lower minor league guy, over at the complex, and you get the call in the morning that says, hey, you're going over to the big league game and you may get in there. So it's kind of fun. You see those guys they'll get there about 11:30 or so, and they'll come in the clubhouse, and they kind of have that look like, okay, what do I do now? Where would I go? But they're there for the game. So that's kind of a cool thing that you see in spring training. It's spring training. You see things like this. It's different, right? But that's what makes it so much fun. So that was some of the observations from these 3 games. Again, we don't get too worked up about the wins and losses. You almost look at individuals more so in spring training, but it was fun. It's fun to see these, like the Tidwell and McDonald and that group. That's sort of the grouping of guys that I'm keeping a close eye on. I want to check some comments. As you guys know, I love the comments. See if you guys are getting ready. 49er Red Zone, who's been joining us a lot lately, and we appreciate that, 49ers Red Zone. Good evening, Kuiper. Giants looking all right early. Yes, they are. But things will be up and down. Let's go, Giants. Right. You learned where not to stand, got drilled in the shin. Yeah, that was another part. That's right. I forgot that. I should have brought that up. But Tony Vitello was, as he managed the game, he was standing in the stairs that walk up, and then it's an opening because players got to walk out onto the field. Well, he was standing there and he got hit by a foul ball right in the shin. So we will not see him standing in the opening anymore. He'll be behind. He'll be like to the right of the opening in the first base dugout behind some netting, hopefully. But he took as what Mike Krukow would call a shin burger. And those tend to hurt, but it looks like he's okay. Make sure to get your comments and questions in, because I like reading them. You know that. Who struck out a rise today is what I want to know. The guy deserves a medal. Yeah, he did. He did. He struck out leading off the bottom of the first, I believe. But yeah, then he bounced back and got a couple of RBI hits, which is great. Danny says, today runners at first and second, no outs, both Eldridge and Fitzcade. Then Matos came up and drove in a single to center field. That's why I like Luis Matos. He makes contact. He's 24 years old. Encarnacion likely would have been the third K in a row. All right, so Dan says, put the ball in play, and he likes Luis Matos for that. We'll see if Matos can make this team. That's going to be another interesting scenario to watch. Fandy 1975 says, I really hope the pitchers can cut down on the walks. It would be nice for a starter to have a decent outing. Well, yeah, we haven't seen any of the starters yet except Robbie Ray. That'll start to happen slowly. A lot of the young guys pitching, a lot of the young guys are walking people. That's just kind of the way it is. I would not worry about it a whole lot at this point in spring training. If neither Bryce or Gerard make the squad, curious who will DH? That's a great question. Yeah, I think Bake That Dough, who's usually on top of this stuff. I mean, it's a great question. I think it's going to be a question that's going to be there all of spring training, because by no means is Bryce Eldridge guaranteed a job. I honestly think, I don't hope this, but I think there may be a better chance that he starts in AAA than that he starts at the big leagues, only because you want to make sure that he is absolutely ready, or as close to being ready as he can to be a big leaguer every day. So I hope he has a great spring, and I hope he sticks. But I would not sit here and absolutely count on that. And if he doesn't, then I think Encarnacion certainly will get at bats in that DH. But it'll help Encarnacion's chance of making the team if Eldridge starts in AAA. But that's an area where I don't think anything's set in stone there. You know, who the fourth outfielder is going to be. Is Encarnacion good enough to be the fourth outfielder? And we just haven't seen it enough of the guy. Last year hurt him because he was hurt. Big guy, power, pretty good athlete, and he's better in the outfield than I thought. We'll see. I think a lot of that hinges around if Bryce Eldridge makes the team, and we just don't know. And you know what? That may be one of those things that doesn't get answered, till late. Or, the Giants, I think they know what they're going to need to see, from Eldridge. But hey, he's fun to watch. He will be a big leaguer for the Giants for a long time. We're just not sure exactly when that's going to start. All right, next part of the show. This is a fun one. I wanted to talk about the ABS challenge system. Not about what it's all about. You guys know what it's all about. We've talked about it before. But how did the Giants do in the first 3 games with the challenge system? Okay. How'd they do? So I looked it up, and if you look at a box score now, it's great. Baseball fans love box scores, right? I love box scores. But now at the bottom of the box score, you will see ABS, and it will tell you who did what. Was it successful? Was it not successful? So that's part of the box score now. So on Saturday, the Giants had 3. They did 3 challenges, or they requested 3 challenges. Were successful with 1, unsuccessful with 2. The successful one was the catcher, Daniel Susak. He got a ball turned into a strike, I believe. And then Buto, the Giants pitcher, he asked for a challenge and got it. And he thought a pitch he threw was a strike. In fact, I think it was a 3-2 pitch. He thought it was a strike, and it turns out it was a ball, and it wasn't really very close. That's that pitcher thing, which I'm going to keep a close eye on how many pitchers are allowed to challenge, because the pitch really wasn't that close. And then one of the hitters, Oliva, one of the non-roster hitters for the Giants, he wanted a pitch that was called the strike challenge. It was unsuccessful. So the Giants went 1-2 on Saturday. Okay, not great. And then on Sunday, they challenged 3 times again and were successful on 2 of them. Bailey was successful. He turned the ball into a strike. Bailey was then unsuccessful. And Willie Adames on a super close pitch, he had a strike called. He challenged it, and it showed up, and it was like about that much out of the strike zone. So he won it. He got a strike changed to a ball. So the Giants went 2-1 there. And then today, just one challenge by the Giants, and it was by Daniel Susac. It was unsuccessful, obviously, with Susac being the catcher. He's asking for a pitch that was called a ball to be a strike. It showed that it was indeed a ball. So in the first 3 games, and again, this is a small sample size, but it's fun to keep track of. The Giants had 7 challenges in the first 3 games of spring training. 3 were successful, 4 were not. So 3 out of 7, less than 50%. 4 of the 7 challenges were done by the catcher spot. 2 were done by the hitters, and 1 by the pitcher, which was unsuccessful. So not a lot. 7 challenges in the first 3 games. So the game on Sunday was televised, right? Yeah, Sunday was televised. So I wanted to ask you guys what you think about the process as you're watching the game when there is a challenge. When I say process, I mean how it's delivered to you sitting at home or sitting in the ballpark. I think it's pretty good. It seems it's quick. Obviously, that's important. But just from a fan standpoint, are you happy with it? And did you watch the game on Sunday? Because it comes up on TV just like it does. In fact, and I talked to my brother Jeff, who's a longtime produces all the Giants games for NBC. He's been doing it for 30 years. So he has conference calls with Major League Baseball about how it's going to work. How the fan, you sitting at home, how are you going to see it? And I had a long conversation with him today. And so if you're at the ballpark, it's going to come up on the big scoreboard and it's just going to show it, and that same thing is going to happen if you're sitting at home watching it on TV. Okay. You'll be sitting there. There'll be a challenge. It'll come up. It's the same graphic that comes up on the scoreboard in the ballpark. It'll come up on your TV. It'll show where it is in the strike zone or out of the strike zone. It'll tell you how close it is. It'll say confirmed or, so it's the same. It's the same at the ballpark as what you'll see at home sitting there watching. So that to me is interesting. If you're at home and it's on TV, it'll come up pretty much a full screen. You'll see it real quick. It happens fast. Boom, then you move on. So I think the process seems to be pretty good, and we'll see more of it. This is going to be a big thing. And you guys watched a lot of the Giants games on TV. Excuse me. So you'll get used to it. But I like it. I think it's pretty simple. It's easy. And if you think about it, being at the ballpark and somebody challenge, and now everybody's going to look up to the scoreboard because that's where you're going to see it. And you're going to see it pretty quick. It's taking like 5 to 7 seconds, so that'll be kind of fun at the ballpark because there's going to be a quick anticipation and you're going to get your answer quickly. So they'll be cheering and that kind of thing. So I'm good with it. I think it's going to be fine. The production of it, I guess, is kind of what I'm saying. Or maybe people think it should be done a different way. I don't know. Let me check the comments and see if people are okay with it. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, I think this is the Adames one. Mike said, I saw a pitch yesterday. It was that close. Glenn just talked about it. Can you imagine that? Didn't touch the line is the new way. That was the Adames, which I believe was a 3-2 pitch, and I think it turned a strikeout into walk, but it was that close. I mean, think about that. That's a tenth of an inch, which is nothing, but that's how close it missed, and Adames got the call changed. I mean, that's crazy if you think about it. But it worked. Adames got the greatest eye ever. Bake That Dough says, having your brother Jeff on as a guest would be great to discuss the behind the scenes of the game we all enjoy on TV. You know what, Bake That Dough? That's a wonderful idea. But my brother Jeff, I'm not saying he's shy. He just doesn't like doing stuff like this. He doesn't like being in front of the camera. He doesn't like getting interviewed. He's kind of quiet, but he knows the game and he knows the industry as well as anybody I know. He's been doing this for 30, 35 years, producing Giants baseball, and he has seen the TV production side of this thing just grow and grow and grow and grow. So he knows it inside out. I just don't know that he's going to come on the show and necessarily want to talk about it. But you know what? I'll run it past him, but I wouldn't. I'm not going to promise you. But yeah, it would be fun to talk about. But I don't think he's up for it. But anyways, so yeah, so I think it's good. I think it's going to be fun. I'm for it. Okay. I'm super curious about the strategy, how teams are going to do, how they're going to use it. I'm curious about how the Giants are going to use it. I think it gets discussed a lot. I think it'll get discussed more and more and more as we get closer to the start of the regular season and how it's going to be used. How are you going to do it? Who can do it? What's your strategy? What's the other team's strategy? All fun stuff like that is going to be part of this. Remember, we talked so much about challenges, replay review. That was a big thing. Now we have this. So you got replay review and this. The game of baseball is changing, but the idea is to get the calls correct. And really, isn't that what it's all about? So anyways, good stuff in that segment. So let's finish the show by talking about, I think it's a topic that we're all a little concerned about. And it's the Giants bullpen. And, there's a whole bunch of candidates out there. This whole thing could be fine. The whole thing could be an issue. We don't know yet. It's way too early. It's going to evolve as the days go by in spring training. And it's certainly something to keep a close eye on. But the thing which is interesting is the Giants position players are set. Okay. Now we don't know who the fourth outfielder is going to be. We don't know who is it going to be, one or two backup infielders, who's going to be the DH, but the 8 guys that are going to go out on the field, minus the pitcher, we know who it's going to be. We know who's in left, we know who's in center, we know who's in right? Unless there's injuries. We know the infield, we know the catcher. That's set. That is set. The Giants' everyday players are set. The starting rotation with Malley and Hauser, the 2 new guys, that's set. Webb, Roop, Ray, we know that those are the 5 unless somebody gets hurt. So it's kind of interesting, right? There's the extra players, okay, but we don't know who's going to be in the bullpen. We really, really don't know. And my question is, we know some of the names, saw them pitch last year, but how many guys are really locks to start the year in the Giants bullpen? And again, this is all barring injuries and if everybody in this big group of pitchers they're choosing from, how many are really locks to make the team? Okay. And I had this conversation, Marty Leary and I talked about it. And to me, I think there's more openings than maybe people think. Who are the locks? Ryan Walker's a lock, right? He's going to make the team. We hope he's the closer. We hope he goes back to his 2024 form. But I'm just talking about guys that, yeah, he's going to make it. Eric Miller's back. He's a good left-hander. He's a lock. Okay. Sam Hedges, this is interesting. Hedges is a pretty good left-handed reliever. I remember him with the Guardians. He's pretty good, but we're not sure yet if he's going to be ready for opening day. Remember, he had knee surgery. He's had a couple surgeries. He's slowly ramping up. He's throwing bullpens. Everything's fine. But the question is, will he be ready on opening day? We're not sure about that. So there's a little bit of a question mark there for opening day. He may need another 2 weeks. We don't know. Jose Butto, is he a lock? I would say yes. You know, he pitched in 55 games last year for the Mets and the Giants. We saw him some. He's not a big strikeout guy. He's not going to blow hitters away. But I would say that he's probably a lock. But see, then this is where, to me, it starts to get interesting. And, you know, maybe I'm off here. Maybe the Giants front office has a different idea of the next grouping. But is Spencer Bivens a lock? I don't know. Spencer Bivens did a nice job last year. He pitched in 54 games for the Giants last year. Different roles. You'd see him earlier in the game. He'd come in late. Never afraid to take the ball. He pitched 81 innings last year. That's a lot for a reliever. So 81 innings in 54 games, which obviously tells you he was not a one-inning guy. So I think Spencer Bivens was valuable last year. Is he a lock to make the bullpen this year? I don't know. And then JT Brubaker, who the Giants got last year, we saw him a little bit. They signed him to a major league deal. Kind of probably a long guy. We don't know a lot about him, but is he and Bivens the same guy, the same type of pitcher? That's maybe my question. I don't know if Brubaker's a long guy. Is Bivens your long? You know, I'm not sure. And again, are they the same pitcher? What about Peguero? 17 games last year at the big league level, showed some flashes, very hard thrower. Not a monster strikeout guy, even though he's throwing 100 miles an hour. You know, so I don't, and we haven't seen him yet. He's got a little hamstring, but I think he's better now. But is he a lock? I don't think so. Is Matt Gage a lock, the left-hander? He pitched a little bit for the Giants last year. And all these guys are on the 40-man roster. But Bivens, Brubaker, Peguero, Gage, are they locked into a spot in this bullpen? I'm not sure about that. Maybe Bivens, maybe Brubaker. And then you got Tristan Beck, you got Keaton Wynn, guys who you'd love to see him figure it all out. Raver San Martin, a left-hander that the Giants brought in. He's got a shot to make the team, but is he a lock to make the team? So I just don't know how many locks there are right now in this bullpen. That's a concern, yeah, but this is where the young starters come in and some of these non-roster invitees that can now make an impression. You know, we know the young guys, we know the starters, right? The Tidwells. But what if Tidwell has a great spring and he's punching guys out? Because there's not a lot of big strikeout guys in that group that I just threw out there. You like to have some strikeout guys in the bullpen. You know, what if Trevor McDonald shows that he can be a 1 or 2 inning guy? And you know, I mean, would it surprise you at all if a couple of these young starters that we've talked about almost every show pitched well enough in spring training to be in that bullpen, that would not surprise me at all. Carson Semo has looked good in a very, very early going yet. Again, only 3 games, bullpens, live BP. We got a long ways to go. But would it surprise you if a couple of those guys made the Giants bullpen? Would it surprise you if a couple of these non-roster invitees made it in that bullpen? Michael Fulmer, Trent Harris, the young right-hander, Will Bednar, we talked about him. Caleb Killian is throwing 99 miles an hour. These are all non-roster guys. Would it be surprising if one of those guys came out of nowhere and made this bullpen? So I guess the point I'm making is I don't know who's a lock and who's not, but I'm not sure that you can just sit there and say, yeah, there's 6 guys that are locks for the Giants bullpen right now. We know they're going to be in it, and there's only 2 openings. I don't know. I think there may be more than 2 openings. I think there's spots to be grabbed in that Giants bullpen. After Walker and Miller and Buto and hopefully Hedges if he's ready. That's just kind of my feeling about it. I may have a different feeling when I get to spring training and start talking to some people and see exactly what the Giants are thinking. But it's the spot that's the Giants needed to figure this one out. And I think if you have to take a couple of these young starters and put them in the bullpen because their stuff is better than maybe some of the other guys that are lined up, then I think you got to do it. Let's get some comments before we head on out. Let's see. Hey, Philip says, Glenn, my man. I love it. Okay, hold on. I'm just okay. Philip says, I still think Gerard is a trade piece for the Yankees. They need that right-handed bat. Well, you don't know. There could absolutely be a trade made. That wouldn't surprise me at all if the Giants did some type of deal at some point in spring training. I don't know who it would be, but that is not out of the question. Could be for a reliever. Mike says the spring should be weighed on heavily for our year's starting bullpen, for this year's starting bullpen, because we've got to come out hot. Caleb Killian, I never wanted to trade, and we're lucky to have him back. He was part of the Chris Bryant trade. And a couple of people have told me that he has looked really good in the short period of time they've been in spring training. So, hey, you never know. Again, non-roster invitee, you never, ever know. It's just somebody's going to come out of nowhere. Somebody is going to come out of nowhere and make the bullpen. At least one guy. And I wouldn't be surprised if one of those young starting pitcher candidates makes the bullpen either. I could very, very easily see that happening. Because you have to take your best guys, right? You have to take the guys who you think are going to get it done for you. And if it's a young kid who's a starter and you say, hey, go down there and just give me two good innings, strike some guys out, we'll take it. But anyways, interesting stuff with that bullpen. I think there's more openings down there than a lot of people think. Just my opinion. And that's what we're all about here. So that's it for tonight's show. Hope you enjoyed it. Tried to cover a little bit of everything as spring training week 3 is now in full gear. And remember, this is the last week with the team all together because the WBC guys, they leave and join their national teams, I believe March 1st, Sunday, March 1st. That's what I was told. So the Giants will lose 8 players come next Sunday. So this is the last week where they'll all be together, and then they'll come back, after a week or 15 days, depending on how far your team goes in the WBC, and get themselves ready. Finale of spring training, and then get yourself going for March 25th Giants, Yankees at Oracle Park. So anyways, that's it for the show. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be heading to spring training on Friday, and we will be doing some shows from down there, which should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that, being at Scottsdale Stadium and coming your way with the Glen Kuiper Show. So thanks for joining us, everybody. And as always, the Glen Kuiper Show is brought to you in part by Tilden Properties. Bay Area-based, family-owned Tilden Properties has been building investment wealth for their clients since 2008. They are always looking for investors, and it is a very good investment. Trust me. Call them at 925-209-8558. Glen Kuiper Show also brought to you in part by the Kehrig team, a family-owned real estate team serving clients in Danville, Alamo, San Ramon, and all across the Bay Area for nearly 50 years. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, connect with Mike Kehrig at mike@kehrigteam.com. That's KEHRIG for Mike, for trusted local guidance from a team that truly knows the Bay Area. Visit kehrigteam.com or give them a call at 925-548-4132. Show is also brought to you by Partners Capital LLC. With your experiencing professional athletes or the families next door, Partners Capital will take care of you and your financial needs. It's a group that is based in stronger future for you. That is what they base it off of. How can Partners Capital make a stronger financial future for you? Call them at 888-702-7743. And last but not least, we're brought to you by Area Rug Cleaning Direct, family-owned and proudly serving the Bay Area for over 35 years. Call Area Rug Cleaning Direct at 925-933-9999 for all your area rug needs. Thanks to the sponsors. Thanks to the viewers. Thanks for all your comments and questions. And thanks for being awesome. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you for the next edition of the Glen Kuiper Show. Have a good one, everybody.